Welcome back to Investing with Confidence. I am your host, Joshua David, and we are talking about the do's, the don'ts, the financial markets, how to make smart investing decisions within trading accounts and retirement accounts. And our sponsor, Online Trading Academy, on their 25th year, teaching people just like you how to trade and invest in the financial markets. If you happen to miss 2 tickets for that investing class right here in Bloomington, just call 952-814-4410 or just text the word INVEST to the number 484848. When you do that, you're going to receive a text back with a link. Make sure to pick a date within that link. That's our website. And pick a date for this investing class right here in Bloomington. We talk about some of those common mistakes that novice investors make, how to minimize them, but our step-by-step rules-based strategy for trading any asset in any market. And that's kind of how I want to kind of lead into this section here, Al, as you were talking about the turtle traders in the first segment on how they took very, very small risk in the markets for a much higher reward, and they had strict rules and steps in their trading strategy.
Correct.
And most listeners are probably thinking right now, hey, I don't really have a strategy. I just buy a Tesla because I think the stocks or the cars are cool, or buy Apple because I love Apple phone or the Mac computer. Well, there's steps that smart investors can make for income potential in the markets. But I also mentioned that when people come to this investing class, they get that financial quick start kit, and there's some topics about rules-based strategies for any asset. Well, it's about having the right asset that you're trading for that income potential.
Right.
So let's talk about those different techniques and concepts that average people can use, everyday people, you and I, our listeners, can use to have income potential.
Yeah. Well, you made a great point there about people just choosing something because they know something about Tesla, or they like the Tesla cars, and they like Apple computers. Well, you can do that. You can trade something that you know something about or that you're interested in, but there's a proper way to do it. And the problem with most people is that they don't understand how to do it the right way. They don't understand the most important components of any kind of a trade are the entry, where you enter, where you exit. And there's 2 exits. One is if you're wrong, to keep that any potential loss very, very small. And if you're right, to make sure that you let the profits run so you have have great profit potential. And those are parts of the rules that the turtle traders follow that our students follow also.
What's funny about that, Al, is a lot of people get their knowledge from the University of YouTube. Which, trading and investing, it's actually a skill. And our listeners are probably wondering, why am I unsuccessful if I'm watching YouTube and all these geniuses on there? I mean, there's a lot of, 14-year-old geniuses on YouTube telling people how to trade. Well, so you have to follow the smart money because they move the market.
Yeah. And understand, there are a lot of people that make a lot of money dealing with the markets by selling you something that is supposedly like the magic bullet.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people don't trade or aren't very successful at trading, but they make a lot of money selling you something that is kind of the magic bullet. Well, what if there were rules? Because let's talk about rules again. What if there were rules that worked for stock, that worked for the futures market, rules that work for the Forex market, the foreign exchange market, rules that work for the options market, rules that work for the bond market, the crypto market, and they're the same set of rules. And that's the great thing. Again, getting back to simplifying, if you have a set of rules that are the same basically for every asset that you trade out there, it gives you the opportunity to participate in different markets. One of the things that one of the set of rules, I guess, that the turtle traders had was what to buy or sell, because their goal was to participate in as much of a trend, as much movement of a trend as possible. That's exactly what we do. In fact, if you look at the rules that the turtles followed, it's almost exactly the same as what OTA teaches their students. But what's a trend? Trend is the movement of an asset from let's say a low point to a high point, or a high point to a low point. How can you follow a trend? Everybody that is out there pushing some kind of a program will tell you the trend is your friend. Well, the best way to follow and take advantage of a trend is to get in when it starts, get out when it ends, or go short when it ends, and get back in when it starts again.
Well, that's where you have the lowest risk and the highest probability and opportunity to have that success. There is at that turn in price. That's common knowledge.
Yeah, and the point is that the trends begin at a turning point in price. And there's something that causes price to turn. And that's what we talk about in these classes that Josh is talking about. We show you how the markets function, what causes price to change, because that's the most important thing. The most quality trade you can make, which Josh just kind of mentioned, is the lowest risk, highest probability of working, and the highest profit potential. That's typically at a turning point. So we show you who is causing that turning point, not only who is causing it, but where it's going to happen on a price chart basically before it happens. We're finding unfilled orders that are big enough to turn the price or to continue moving the price in a certain direction. We're showing you where that's going to happen in the future because of the way the big institutions, the people with a lot of money, the way they have to trade, the way they have to enter a position, the way they have to exit a position. It's fantastic for us with our strategy because we take advantage of how that happens. So that's one of the things is to identify how to participate in the full movement or as much of that movement of the trend as possible. And then what is it that you buy or sell? Well, maybe the stock market is in a kind of a position where we are not seeing good trends. Maybe in the foreign exchange market we are, or the options market, or the futures market.
Yeah.
So being able to access different markets gives you a greater opportunity to find a trend that will give you those quality trades.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, the futures and Forex market. I want to cover that in the next topic here. But, understanding who moves price is probably the first thing you have to understand and realize and really say, okay, the institutions are moving price, so that's who you have to follow. I mean, what's that old saying? If you can't beat them, join them, right?
That's correct.
And we can't beat the institutions. They have millions and billions of dollars. If you got billions of dollars, okay, well, maybe you might be able to try to beat them. Well, you can't, so you have to trade like them, just like the turtle traders. Take that small risk, high reward, have steps within a trading strategy to have income potential in the markets. Because I'm sure a lot of people that are listening right now are like, well, hey, that would be nice, but what would that look like? How would that change your life? And that's where a plan comes into play. And I think we'll talk more about that in the fourth section. But Al, we have a lot of listeners that want to get started on how to how to create income potential in the markets, how to use the market to it's all about making better choices. And people want to make better choices, but it's tough to do that when you just have that JOB, because what is that JOB? It's just over broke. So call 952-814-4410. I want to invite you to an investing class right here in Bloomington. When you do that, you're going to receive a financial quick start kit, and there's a few topics on there that'll help you actually get started right away. And I've been getting this a lot. I've been meeting with a lot of people, and they say, I'm brand new. I've never traded before. I'm not sure if I can do this or I should do it. Well, you won't know unless you come into these investing classes to see how the markets actually work. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. We'll get you a text back with a link, and that'll help you get started right into our website and pick a date for this class. These are 2 hours. They're right here in Bloomington. Al teaches these. I teach these as well to get started to make smart investing decisions. So you did bring up that futures in the Forex market, Al.
I did.
You kind of let the cat out of the bag, but it's out, and let's talk about it. So we have stocks. Everybody knows stocks, and I think everybody that we talk to wants to learn how to trade stocks for income potential. Well, that's great. Well, they're not sometimes the best thing for everybody because, for one, they're very expensive. Two, stocks are actually high risk because you have to put all of your capital into a position to control a position. Let's talk about those assets that allow you to use a smaller amount of capital and trade in the evening.
Yeah, well, it's here. If you're talking about futures and Forex, here's an investment that requires a small amount of money in an account to control a much larger investment, open 24 hours a day, easy risk management with those assets, and then big return potentials. And here's something that we probably haven't talked about very much, but tax advantage. When you think about, because everybody's concerned about paying taxes or concerned about not paying taxes, I guess. And if you look at futures and Forex can be traded with a 60-40 split. Typically, when you're doing trades that last less than a year, you're paying a much higher tax bracket on those gains, on any kind of capital gains.
I think it averages out to be like 20,
Well,
low
it's co-
20%,
well, it could
22 or so
Well, that's
on an average when you average it out.
Well, it's a lot of people that are trading are probably closer to that 30% tax bracket. So let's just say that you have two traders. You're going to be trading the S&P 500.
Okay.
The SPY, the
The
ETF, the
Okay.
exchange traded fund for the S&P 500. I'm going to be trading a futures contract in the S&P 500.
Okay.
You have a $100,000 profit. I have a $100,000 profit.
Mm-hmm.
You're in that 30% tax bracket. Futures trades are short-term trades, so you're going to be paying $30,000 in taxes,
Mm-hmm.
giving you a $70,000 profit
With stocks, basically.
with stock with that ETF.
Yep.
Exactly. So by trading the futures, it's treated as a 60-40 split. Even though it's short term, 60% is treated as long-term capital gains
Mm-hmm.
and 40% as short-term capital gains. So essentially you're paying closer to 10% on $60,000, 30% on $40,000, which gives me an $82,000 profit compared to your $70,000
That's a lot
profit.
of numbers. Here, I'm going to break it down for our listeners. Basically, futures and Forex, you keep more of your gains.
That's
To make it simple.
That's simplifying it. Yeah, and that's important. That is a huge advantage that you have with those two assets. In addition to leverage, they can be used, both futures and Forex can be used as short-term trading vehicles. Future or Forex also, we have great long-term trends in the Forex market too, so that can be used more for your retirement money. But if you're still working, then income is probably an important concept for you, and maybe you need an additional income over what your job is paying. Most people that are truly successful, let's look at the top 5% of the people in the country
Mm-hmm.
that are truly financially secure,
Really independent.
independent. They have five or more, sometimes sources of income
Yeah.
that with just maybe one job. It's not numerous jobs; it's just different sources of income. Futures and Forex can be used that way. Futures is a great short-term trading vehicle, and it also gives you a lot of choices. One of the things I mentioned before was being able to trade things that maybe are trending when something else isn't. Well, in the futures market, you can trade the stock markets, you can trade all the major markets, the foreign markets, you can trade commodities, which oftentimes and most of the time don't have any correlation to the stock markets. You can trade oil, gold, silver, currencies, interest rates, a number of different things there that give you the opportunity to be truly diversified and to have opportunities to find something that might be working when something else isn't.
Yeah, that's a great comment there about you can still trade the stock market in the futures market. So why would you trade the stocks? I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. Why would you trade stocks when there's more taxes on it? When you can trade futures, basically you can trade the S&P 500 in the futures market and keep more of your capital.
Sure, right.
It's kind of a no-brainer. But you know what? Our listeners and a lot of people just haven't been educated on it, on what are the best things for you, right? And the whole thing with the successful people, the 5% of the independent people that in finances, they have 5 sources of income, right? Well, nothing's guaranteed, but think about this: if somebody has a job, let's just say, Fred down the road has a job. I'm just making that name up. Fred has a job and he has one source of income. His neighbor has a job, but he trades futures as well. That could be 2 potential.
Sure.
And he also trades futures and Forex. That's 3 potential. So the potential is there. You just have to take action and learn the skills and techniques that the smart money is using. And it just comes down to having a strategy, understanding that strategy, and then applying rules within that strategy. And Al, you teach investing classes right here in Bloomington to introduce people to some of those rules, some of those techniques and concepts that the smart money is actually using for extra income potential. So I want to invite people to an investing class right here in Bloomington. They're 2 hours. We're next to the Mall of America, and Al teaches these, and he gets into that step-by-step rules-based strategy for trading any asset in any market. But the key is to buy at wholesale and sell at retail, just like the financial institutions do. So he'll introduce you to those techniques and concepts. Call 952-814-4410 or just text the word invest. Everybody likes to text these days. Text the word invest to the number 484848. Another step here, though. You have to click the link that we send you right back. There's a calendar in there to pick a date for this investing class right here in Bloomington. You'll get a financial quick start kit just for getting set up. Al, coming up next, I want to talk more about these techniques and strategies, but apply it more to retirement accounts, 401ks, and IRAs. We'll be right back.